Once, garden designers Chris Hull and Jamie Butterworth show off their best short back and sides in a topian masterclass. But first, not only did YouTube sensation Joe Sugg waltz his way to the Strictly Come Dancing final back in 2018, but he also managed to waltz off with the girl too, impressing audiences and her with performances like this one. Charleston. I was so impressed by the complicated leg. Damn, you got thrown in the air. I mean, how trusting do you have to be of someone who hadn't really danced before?
I mean, very trusting, and he hadn't really done much lifting at all, other than his straw that he used to carry up rooms to thatching. But yeah, you do. You have to throw all your trust into your partner. And kind of hope for the best, really.
So when you were drawn with Joe and you discovered what he hadn't actually done before, I mean, how hopeful were you? Did you really think this is going to be a hard job?
I knew that he would do well just in terms of how his character was. He was so keen to get in the training room and work really hard. So if you've got a good attitude towards it, I think he'll do really well. However, his actual natural dance ability was very questionable.
What a diplomat you are. Natural dancing. But when it comes to social dancing, now is much expected of you two. If you turn up at a wedding or whatever, they'll want you two to take the floor, won't they?
Oh, yeah. We went to a good friend of mine's wedding in South Africa last month, wasn't it? And all eyes were on, not so much on me now, because it's been quite a bit of time since, but especially for you, after just winning, everyone was watching Dianne being like waiting for you to take the floor and show everyone how it's done.
Yeah, they're very disappointed when I do then, because I don't have anything prepared for a wedding, that's for sure.
Do you know, many years ago, I interviewed Fred Astaire's daughter. Oh, wow. Ava, right. And I said, and she'd waltzed with her father, and I said, what was it like dancing with Fred Astaire? She said, it was dreadful. He trod on your toes the whole time. She said, those routines he did in the films, he spent weeks and weeks rehearsing them.
Yeah.
So she said, on the dance floor, he was just like, obviously not just like anybody else, you know, natural rhythm. But clearly the routine is everything in a way.
It's true, and we spend hours doing like that. What you just saw us do, I mean, that didn't just happen overnight. We spent hours and hours perfecting that. So, yeah, it does take a lot of time and effort.
Joe, the fact I've been asked a few times and declined, because for very good reasons, you know. But the prospect of the moment when you're live and it's there, you have to go. Is it a kind of autopilot you have to go into? Because if you just overthink, you just forget what you're doing.
Luckily, because I'd never experienced live television at all before that, in terms of like a show of that magnitude. So. You can sort of see in your peripherals the little red light go on, and you think, okay, this is it, and the nerves kick in. But weirdly, because we rehearsed it so many times, it becomes muscle memory.
Yeah.
So there were some times where I forgot what I was doing, but my body just did it. And it was bizarre afterwards to go, it was all felt like a blur, but then afterwards being like, I think I got through that okay. And then I check with Dianne and look at the look in her eyes going like, no, yeah, you got through it, fine. So,
And of course, that's the thing with you, professional dancers, when you go into the routines where all the pros are together, you know, you're doing one or two of those a week on the show, as well as the... it is, I suppose, to do with muscle, isn't it? Mind muscle connected with body muscle that enables you to learn things so quickly and remember them so easily.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, I've been dancing since I was a little girl, so a lot of the steps that we learn very quickly are steps that we've had in our bodies for years and years and years. So, I mean, I have to take my hat off to everyone that does Strictly, and I think you would be great, by the way. You're now the person that when people go, who do you want to dance with on Strictly, Di? I'm going to say Alan.
No.
I'm going to say Alan from now on.
Di, you don't know my knees. My knees on the lift.
Listen,
oh, no.
I bet you there's a dancer in there. But, yeah, it's just one of those things. It does become muscle memory, and the way these guys work is incredible because it hasn't been in their bodies since they were little kids. They're learning it that week, and then they're performing it on a Saturday. So what they do is absolutely incredible.
From your point of view, Joe, you're huge on YouTube, millions following you as a thatcher. Have you kept your hand in the thatching bit? I mean, you don't. I know you don't need to now.
No, well, do you know what? I've always thought, because I mean, back in the day when we first started YouTube and it started taking off, we didn't know where it could go to, so we were like, well, I'll give it a go for a year and see where it gets me. And you know, if I need to go back to the roof, at least I've learnt the trade, so I can go back to it. And I haven't had to go back to it yet, but I did get a chance to go and meet actually a local thatcher in my area who is massive on TikTok. And obviously, back when I started YouTube, TikTok wasn't around, and he gets millions of views on TikTok showing the roof thatching process, and people around the world find it fascinating, and all that kind of old traditional crafts and stuff is so fascinating to people that don't ever see it. So I went and met with him, and we did some thatching together, and I got to sort of interview him a little bit about it and stuff, and it was great. And he, weirdly have the same birthday, and both our mums called Tracy. So it's like a weird...
There's something in there about aptitude and... Let's have a look at you in your natural environment.
Right, okay, so I've just put some skirts on, which is this bit here. This is the start of what is going to be the block cut ridge. So eventually, what you do, you put your skirt on, which is this. Then you put, if you need to, you put some like skimmer bits in. That's little bits just going down the other way to fill out any patches to make sure it's nice and even. And then you put what's called a wraparound on at the top, which goes over your ridge roll, and then it keeps it all looking nice. People watching this aren't going to have a clue what I'm talking about. It's bringing back all the memories. I'm absolutely loving it.
I think I've got them. I'm going to get my skirts organised down there. Then I've got to get it's complex.
It's like knitting on a roof in a way. You've got to remember which way it goes on and what holds what on and things like that. But it's interesting to see how big Shane's legs were compared to my legs. I think over the years I've lost the thatching muscles. Yeah, definitely.
Talking of expertise, there you demonstrating yours. You demonstrated to us your expertise with Chris McCausland in one of the most moving things ever seen, I think, and I don't think I'm overstressing it, on British television. You're up for a BAFTA for the best live moment, and this is why. Walk on, walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never such a beautiful moment. I mean, not a dry eye in our house what's going on. But and you mentioned it was such an obvious thing to say, but it reinforced it when you were talking about it and saying he has no points of reference at all when you're teaching somebody without sight a dance. Where on earth do you start?
It was really interesting because I've obviously never had to do this myself, and I was quite overwhelmed at first, but he made me feel so comfortable about just give it a go, Di. You know, this is new for both of us. I've never danced. You've never taught anyone that can't see before. And so first of all, he made me feel very comfortable to just, you know, try different things. And that's exactly what we did. I just tried different ways of teaching, which was obviously I had to speak a lot and really communicate and deliver what I was trying to say in such a way. And it's weird because I'm not that kind of a learner. I'm very visual. So that I found quite difficult, but also just connection with your partner and moving his body in certain ways and just trying to make it work. But we had a lot of trust. And that is, I think, where our partnership really gelled, and that's where it really worked. You know, I trusted him 100%, he trusted me 100%, and it worked.
One of the most powerful moments was when the lights went out.
Yes, yeah.
And you knew you were then in a situation, as a viewer, seeing what he can see, which is nothing.
Yes.
But and then coming out of it. For me, Joe, that was powerful. What about you watching Dianne dancing with Chris?
Every week. I mean, to be fair, every time. Obviously, we were on the show together a long time ago, but every year since, I think I felt more nervous watching you dance each week from either in the studio or from home than I was for our year. But every week I was bawling my eyes out, crying, clapping at the TV, dancing along with it, just sort of hoping for the best. And yeah, couldn't be more proud. And for what they achieved, I think it was just absolutely brilliant.
You kept in touch. You're doing a podcast going right now.
Yeah, we do. We have a podcast called Winning Isn't Everything, which was our team name on the show, funnily enough.
Rather nice that you did.
I know, crazy. We said this team name in like week 2 because I phoned my dad up and I said to my dad, I've got Chris and I'm really excited to have Chris because I think it's going to be such a good experience for me. And I said to him, but you know what, winning isn't everything, is it, Dad? Doesn't, basically saying I'm not going to win the show, but I'm going to have a really good time and I'm going to learn a lot from Chris. That became our team name, basically having a laugh that we're not going to win the show, but we're going to, have a great time doing it. Week 4, see you later. And just the fact we won it. So yeah, our podcast is called Winning Isn't Everything, and it's just a catch up really. We loved working together, and now obviously he's out on tour. I'm busy as well, but we still make an effort every single week to have a great catch up. And our producer says 1 hour only, and we talk for about an hour and a half. So we can't stop talking.
But interesting for you every time it happens now, Joe. You met Dianne on there you are. You're now a couple. Is there that feeling of I hope she doesn't get on with anybody else quite as well as she got on with me?
Well, I think I never got a podcast with you.
No.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it with
No, do you know what? I think the year after, you sort of get a bit of like a Strictly Blues because it's such an amazing experience, and you feel like it's sort of reminiscent to being on like a big school trip for like the lead up to Christmas or something. You're all in it together, and it's this great feeling. And so the next year, there's not that anymore, and you get a bit of like they're going to have such a great time. I hope they know what a great time they're going to have. But then, after that, it's sort of become.
But you're always a part of it anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Joe feels just as much involved as when he was probably in it, because I come home every night and I'm like, watch this video, Joe. Like, tell me, what do you think? What do you think? And then if he doesn't say much, but you don't like it, do you? You don't like that dance. What should I do to change it? So I'm always showing Joe the videos, and so I think he probably can't wait till I stop it, to be honest.
I've become a bit of a...
don't have to show him the videos.
I've become a bit of a fifth judge, don't I, from home,
so
I guess.
Joe is my
you
fifth
do your
judge.
thing, and then he says, oh, you're doing it like that, are you?
Yeah, he is. He's like a judge, and I respect his judging a lot, actually.
Right.
He's got great ideas, Joe, so I do ask him for like some concept ideas or song music choices.
So does he get an input into the Veto tour? You're doing a tour with Veto?
I am doing a tour with Veto. Not so much on that one. You haven't really...
Although I've heard I make an appearance. Do I make some sort of...
Joe does make an appearance. You do make a very big feature in the show.
I don't know what it is yet, though. She hasn't told me.
No, I haven't told him.
I should inquire if I were you.
But he does make a feature. But yeah, that's also very, very exciting.
What I love is the fact that clearly it's car boot sales that keep you together.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll either keep us together or it'll break us up. Because...
So, Joe, what do you buy? Car boots?
Well, I go for like anything like retro, so anything sort of 90s. Things from my
Excuse me, I'm interviewing somebody for whom 90s is retro. For me, 90s is day before yesterday. What sort? Anything from the 90s?
Like anything like Sega Mega Drive to Furbies. Don't know if I said Furbies. I've still not found one yet.
No.
But like Game Boys, like old school retro.
Dianne, what do you go for?
I'm very eclectic. I have lots of different things. I like furniture pieces that I can do up. I do like to have a little rummage around different clothes and things like that. But mainly, furniture bits that we can put in the house, and I can kind of DIY them a little bit. But
Yeah, you're a far better buy than he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too.
You say furniture, but the thing you brought back last week was, I don't class that as furniture.
No,
It's like a medieval contraption.
What was that then?
It's something that flips you upside down.
It's actually called an inverter.
Just a minute, this is Sunday morning family audience. It's not fun. I'm not so sure about it.
That's why right. It sounds really dodgy, but it's not. It's an inverter and it lengthens your spine.
It just makes you feel like your head's about to pop. It's
Yeah.
not great. And how she brought that, that's why I like to go with her, to make sure she's not buying things like
Yeah,
that.
clearly you two need to curb one another's excesses. I think
Yes.
that's it. Aside from car boot sales, one thing you do share is a love of the great outdoors, wild
Yes.
countryside.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're from a sort of, I guess you could call it countryside in Australia?
Yeah, it definitely is the countryside. It's 2 hours south of Perth in Western Australia, a little town called Bunbury. And it is countryside, but it's very coastal as well. But I've always been much more of a lover of smaller little towns rather than big cities, that's for sure.
And then I grew up in Wiltshire. So I grew up sort of learning, I guess, gardening bits that have been passed down from like my granddad to my mum to me. So I've always loved it, always liked being in the outdoors. And so I think, you know, when we got together, we were in London, but then it didn't take us long, did it, to sort of go, we need to venture out back into the
But
peace and
lucky
quiet.
that you both feel the same way, like, because
Yeah.
if you've got one townie and one, there's a pool, isn't there? It's a real
Yeah.
compromise. Nobody's really quite happy.
Yeah. But we're lucky. Like we obviously work a lot in London as well, so we can go there, get our sort of city fix. But then there's nothing nice then coming home, and just hearing the birds. Do you know what I mean? Or just like, just peace and quiet, fresh air.
Love
so
it. Best of
in a
both
good
worlds,
spot,
as
yeah.
they say.
Yeah. Lovely to chat to you both.
Oh,
Thank you so
thank you
much
so
for coming.
much.
Now, time now to open up Love of Your Weekend Gallery, because we showcase